We're almost ready to get on the ice. Let's talk about how to tie ice skates. First, a proper fitting skate is super crucial and critical. I personally recommend going to your local skate shop to make sure that your skates fit perfectly. How do I know if your skates fit well? A couple different ways. First off, your toes should be pretty close to the front of the skate. Enough to wiggle, but it should not move side to side. There should be less than about a centimeter from the tip of your toe to the tip of your skate. Next, let's talk about the width of your skate. Again, no side-to-side movement. The arch, it shouldn't be completely lifted and it shouldn't be completely falling over. Some people, if you have really flat feet or high arches, or if you already wear insoles in your regular shoes, you may need an arch support. My other checkpoint is looking at the heel. It shouldn't be pinching. You shouldn't be having tons of bleeding, blistering, and a little bit of discomfort breaking in skates is normal. But after the initial break-in period, if you're still bleeding or having excess rubbing, then you might need a pinch or loosening of the heel area. And lastly is the ankle. It should be a snug hug. You should feel pretty secure in your skates. If you feel like you can easily twist your ankle, or if you put your finger on the back of your skate and your finger can way too easily slide in and out, if it's more than a finger width, then maybe look into a different size or a squeeze of your skate as well. Tying skates properly is so important. It's much different than tying a pair of sneakers. With skates, we go for uniform lacing, so about an even pressure from the bottom going to the top. If you're pulling together too tightly or too loosely, it could mean that the boot does not fit you. Also, if you take out the insole, there should be less than a centimeter to the top of the insole. If there's too much, then skates are too big. Let's chit chat a little bit about how to properly tie your figure skates. So I just am getting my skates out of my skate bag, and as you notice, I have these soft guards on. Inside these soft guards is this terry cloth towel-like material, and the purpose of this is to absorb the remaining moisture that's left on your ice skates after a skating session. Even though we're wiping down our skates with a microfiber towel, as your skates warm up to room temperature again, there is a bit of extra condensation that happens. So here's a quick preview of the inside of my soft guards. Many different designs you can get. If you check out my additional resources guide, I will link my skate essentials below. This is a very different material, these hard guards. In order to put hard guards on, I do think it's easiest to put it on your toe pick. Then pull onto the back of your blade. Make sure it's nice and flat. And this minimal gap here, I can adjust the screws as well. I'll link this hard guard brand below as well. These are the guard dogs. I'm gonna loosen the laces. Pull the tongue out and gently insert into the skate. So my foot's in. I'm going to tap my heel back and make sure my foot is all the way inside the skate. Next, I'm going to tuck the tongue in so it is inside the skate. This keeps your ankle snug. You may have to retie your skates during skate sessions, especially if your tongue's twisting or if it pops up. If your tongue excessively twists, this can happen with beginner pairs that don't have any hooks or mechanism to keep the tongue in place. This can also happen if you have excessively high or flat arches. Sometimes you may need to get your blade realigned to prevent the tongue from twisting. Those are signs that the ice skates might not fit properly. So I'm going to start from here. Make sure I pull. Gonna feel a little bit more snug than a sneaker. Try my best not to have twisting of the laces. Okay, so now at the ankle, I'm gonna start to crisscross. So this is optional. I do see some skaters do this extra tie here to secure the skate.
This can help with flexion of the tongue. My pair also has these slits which help. I also have seen some skaters do an extra knot here, then twist and keep going. So choice is up to you, totally optional, but it could help with a bit more security. I personally like a 360 approach. So going above the hook, then below, and then crisscrossing is going to give you the most secure lacing pattern. You can also go under and around, totally fine as well, but this will be the most secure. So I have these hooks, I'm going in between. I personally like to do a double knot at the top. That helps me not worry about my skates becoming undone. Ta-da! If you have extra long laces, you never want to wrap it around the ankle like this. The reason is, as you skate, it can come up and actually become undone, and that can be pretty unsafe. So if you have an extra lace, what I recommend doing is going around an extra time around those hooks and then tying your skates. So hypothetically, if these laces were too long, I can go around an extra time and then tie my skates. Now you're ready to take a few steps off ice. If the skates feel uncomfortable, feel free to retie and adjust the skate as needed. Let's talk about taking off the skates now. We are going to loosen our laces. Certain brands, such as the Ideas, have that self-locking system. It might be helpful to get a lace puller. That way you don't injure your fingers or get frustrated undoing your skates. So once I loosen these enough, I'm gonna gently pull my tongue so I can pull my foot easily out of the boot. If your foot appears to be stuck, you don't wanna yank it out because that can damage the quality of your boot. So just do a little bit more loosening. It should come out rather easily like this. Pull my laces, keep them as clean as possible, tuck them in my skates before I put them away in my skate bag.
Most skates are tied this way. However, if you do have the Idea figure skates, they do work a little bit differently because of their technology. So brief overview of the Idea skates. I have a helpful link under the additional resources tab. The Idea laces come out of the eyelet and come back in. So that system actually self-locks itself. When you pull the laces, you have to go over the top of the hook and go underneath in a 360 fashion. That is also important to prevent premature breakdown of the boot, and it keeps the tongue in place. We also want to make sure that the laces stay flat. We want to avoid any type of twisting. Something else to note about the Idea skates is it's not necessarily an even lacing. The tightest point is going to be around the ankle, so it looks more like an hourglass effect. Because of the lacing system, it is a little difficult, especially when you're breaking in those new Idea skates, to pull sufficiently tight and also undo the laces, and you don't want to damage your skates or your fingers, so I do highly recommend a lace puller for that brand. Another pro tip, always keep a spare pair of laces in your bag. You never know when they snap. This can happen at a test or a competition or just skating, so be prepared.